For farmers in the High Plains, the most plentiful commodity produced in 2017 was unwanted weather patterns. Extreme drought, late-season rains, and abnormally cool weather plagued North Dakota farmers and ranchers this year. As corn, dry edible beans, and other grains were being planted this spring, rain stopped coming to portions of central and western areas of the state, and it did not return for several weeks. By early June, 44 out of North Dakota's 52 counties were impacted by drought, with 11 reaching D4, the U.S. Drought Monitor's designation for exceptional drought. With little to no rain falling at a time when the state normally receives almost half its annual rainfall, row crops in western and southern parts of the state suffered. Doug Goring is commissioner for the North Dakota Department of Agriculture.
We had a lot of producers, and even on our farm, where we harvested some 3-bushel barley, and that's devastating. 30-bushel wheat and 40-bushel barley still won't pay the bills. I've had a lot of questions about how much small grains, whether wheat, barley, oats, and durum, got rolled up in a bale. But I believe we could probably say more than 500,000 acres, and maybe over 1 million acres ended up getting rolled up.
The same dry conditions plaguing row crop farmers also hit cattle producers. Much of this year's spring grasses never materialized on pasture land. Hay donations from across the U.S. were placed in a lottery system by the North Dakota Department of Agriculture and North Dakota State University Extension to help cattle producers meet feed needs. By the time much-needed rain did begin to fall, only late-season grasses arrived. While the feed source was a welcome sight, there was just enough to go around.
It was enough that producers didn't necessarily have to keep dispersing herds, but they still had to think about what was going to happen going into this winter and this spring, which meant they're still trying to access and source forage and move it back home.
The late-season rains and cooler temperatures proved to be both a blessing and a curse for farmers. Soybean producers watched pods fill thanks to the late summer rain, adding unexpected yields at harvest time. For corn growers, the late arrival of moisture and cooler temperatures hampered harvest. And the frustration continues for those already behind due to inclement weather. Earlier this week, snowfall of 6 to 12 inches across the Peace Garden State halted Harvest 2017 in its tracks, leaving more than half of some commodities stuck in the field.
With 54 different commodities that we produce in this state, I will never say that rain was a bad thing, but it wasn't necessarily helpful either, other than our ability to store some moisture going into next year. And at this point, a lot of people are just hoping for next year.
For Market to Market, I'm John Torpy.